You ever seen a 72-year-old black woman get slammed with 10 years in prison for something she didn't do by a judge who smirked like it was a game? Yeah, that happened. And let me tell you, they messed with the wrong grandma. Estelle Rankin wasn't just some frail old lady from the Gulfside projects in Louisiana. She was a seamstress, a widow, a mother, and she'd been through more in her life than most folks could stomach. But nothing, not the hurricanes, not the poverty, not even losing her husband, prepared her for the kind of evil that came wearing a black robe and a state seal. It all started 2 days before the gavel fell. Estelle was walking down Cypress Street, shoulders hunched under the brutal southern sun, her faded scarf barely clinging to her gray curls, sweat streaking down her cheeks like tears that hadn't asked permission. Her knees ached, her sandals slapped against broken sidewalk, and her fingers clutched a crumpled envelope with her light bill. She had exactly $20 in her purse, enough to keep the lights on for another month if nothing else went wrong. But wrong showed up real fast. The moment she stepped into Leroy's corner store, now owned by some chain that didn't give a damn about the people in that neighborhood, Estelle noticed the clerk. Buzz cut, smug grin, nose in his phone, name tag hanging crooked. Drew, the kind of guy who calls his manager when a customer asks for change for $1. She cleared her throat, slid the bill across the counter, and said softly, "I need to pay my electric." Her voice was raspy, but steady. Drew didn't even look up. Instead, he barked, "This bill's fake." And just like that, bam! 3 cops busted in like it was a drug bust, not a grocery store. Estelle barely had time to blink before she was face down on the linoleum, cuffed with her wrists twisted behind her back. She kept repeating, "That's my money. That's real money." But Officer Clegg, big guy, red face, tight uniform, looked down like she was a stray dog, said she was passing funny bills, and dragged her out like trash on a Thursday. That 20? Turned out it wasn't fake, but the damage was done. By the time they tested it, she'd already spent a night in a concrete cell where the light flickered like it was laughing at her. And Judge Harvey Knox? He didn't care about no evidence. He was the kind of man who looked at a black woman and saw a mugshot. The trial wasn't a trial. It was a funeral for the truth. Witnesses were coached. A woman from church even, Estelle's friend, said she saw her with matches near the fire site. That fire burned down a new development lot that a rich guy had just bought up, and they needed someone to blame. Estelle was quiet, old, alone, easy target. She stood there, trembling in her court-issued shoes, the cuffs biting her skin, and whispered, "My son will hear about this." The room stilled like God had walked in, but Judge Knox? He leaned forward and said, "Who's your son gonna scare, Miss Rankin?" He should have asked that before he opened his mouth. See, Estelle's son wasn't just anybody. His name was Malcolm Rankin, and he wasn't just an attorney, he was the U.S. Attorney General, from the projects of Cypress Street to the podiums of Washington, D.C. And when he picked up the phone that night and heard his mama's voice cracking through tears, whispering, "They beat me, baby. They said I set a fire," he didn't wait. But let me back up a sec. Because before Malcolm made his move, the system struck back. Estelle got transferred to the women's facility outside Baton Rouge. It was hell in cinder blocks. Hot, moldy air. A metal bunk with no mattress. Guards who thought beating old women made them tough. And they did beat her. Left her ribs bruised, lips split, her body a canvas of their cowardice. Still, Estelle didn't cry. She didn't beg. She closed her eyes and whispered her son's name like a prayer. Then came the twist no one saw coming. Malcolm sent a team, FBI, full gear, ready to blow the doors off. They pulled her from that hellhole in the middle of the night, just as a mob, sent by Knox himself showed up, torches and all, like it was 1955. Those agents fought back, scattered the crowd. But just as they got Estelle to a safe house, boom, the cabin exploded. Another trap. Knox wasn't just corrupt, he was connected, deep. His people faked recordings, forged video, paid off witnesses, and leaked evidence to the press to make it look like Malcolm was covering up for his mama. Estelle sat in a safe house, bruised and broken, sipping cold tea as Malcolm paced, barking into phones, eyes burning with rage. You could feel the storm building. But Estelle, she wasn't done yet. One morning she asked the agent guarding her, "You got a phone?" She made a call, not to Malcolm. She called Gloria Harmon, a retired forensic analyst Estelle had once helped sew a church robe for years ago. Gloria owed her one, and Gloria delivered. The video used to convict Estelle. The timestamp was doctored. The voice on the tape, synthesized. Fake. Everything fell apart like a house made of matchsticks. Cut to Washington, D.C. federal courtroom. Estelle sat tall in a navy dress, her hands blistered but folded with pride. The courtroom was packed. The press leaned forward. Judge Molina presiding, Malcolm by her side. Knox sat across the aisle, pale and sweating, silver hair slicked back like a used car salesman about to lose it all. Estelle's testimony cut like a blade. She spoke of the cuffs, the beatings, the night she thought she'd burn alive in a cell made for silence. And the jury, they listened. But then, just when she thought it was over, Knox's attorney dropped a bomb. He accused Malcolm, said he covered for his mom, said Estelle knew the fire was coming. Gasps. Reporters scribbling. The judge leaned in. Malcolm clenched his fists. And Estelle? She didn't flinch. "You think I burned down my own neighborhood?" she asked, her voice quiet but sharp as glass. "The place I buried my husband, raised my son? You think I set it all on fire to what? Prove a point?" The courtroom was dead silent. Then she turned to Knox, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "You rigged it all, burned me down, turned my son's fight against him. Smart move, Judge. Real smart." He smirked, but she leaned in, whispered just loud enough for the mic to catch it. "But I've been quiet too long, and today, you fall." Boom. The next morning, headlines exploded. Judge confesses, tapes exposed as fakes. Estelle Rankin, cleared. The truth hit like a hammer, and Knox's empire crumbled. He was cuffed in the same courtroom he once ruled like a king. Estelle walked free, sandals hitting pavement steady, her son beside her. The press couldn't get enough, flashes, mics, questions, but she just smiled. Not wide, just enough to say I won. They got in a black SUV, drove past the jail, past the ruins of her home, past the ashes of what they tried to bury her with. And even though the war wasn't over, Knox still had allies, whispers in the shadows. Estelle was no longer the victim. She was the fire now. Quiet, burning, unstoppable. So, yeah, you mess with the wrong grandma, she just might burn your whole kingdom down. Now let me ask you something. What do you think wins in the end? Power built on fear or resilience rooted in truth? Drop a comment. Press 1 if you believe quiet strength is louder than any gavel, or 2 if you think justice only comes when you fight for it. And if Estelle's story hit you like it hit me, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories like this, and share it so nobody ever forgets that justice ain't a gift, it's a fight.